Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and in this one we're going to be looking at the Project Expedition. The departure window has now been confirmed by Embark along with a bunch of other details that we've been effectively waiting for a few weeks within the community. So we're going to be covering that topic and more inside this video. So if you're new around here, then smash a like on that video if you're enjoying it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's go into what Embark have dropped, what the Project Expedition is all about, and what we can anticipate happening in the next few weeks. First of all, let's cover the basics of what the Project Expedition actually is. If you're fairly new to Arc Raiders still, or you're still only, let's say, maybe 10, 20 hours into the game, you may have just hit level 20 and you've had something pop up ultimately to unlock the Expedition project, and this is what the final version of that looks like inside the game. But ultimately we can look at the overview here, and then we'll cover all the details that Embark have dropped. So first of all, the overview is that the Expedition means your raider will leave the Rust Belt. It's almost like a prestige system. There's very similar systems in other games, but it's effectively Embark's way of keeping things fresh, keeping things fair, and allowing raiders to relive, or allowing the players to relive the raider experience of powering back up, gearing back up, growing your economy again within your stash, as many of us now have. As you can see above, I've got 2.2 million in coins at the moment, nearly 2,000 spare creds. There's lots of currency flying around at the moment, giving me the option to reset. Feels very good, and I've been loving the game at the moment, so why not put more time into it? That's in a nutshell what this system is all about. And here we just see some details on the interface within the game about what will be reset, what will be kept. And of course there's been lots of questions about what all of this means, especially what the benefits and buffs are in terms of what we get across our account. We already knew fundamentally what was going to be resetting, about the stash upgrade progress, blueprints, coins, the player level, and all the skill points would be reset. Of course, everything relating to this raider effectively disappears, right? They're leaving the Rust Belt after all. It kind of makes sense thematically as well as from a gameplay perspective. And what will be kept, all of the bonus skill points earned from expeditions, bonus stash slots earned from expeditions, all these things are now a little bit more clearer for us as we jump into the Embark news shortly. Rewards and buffs, we knew there were going to be an increased XP gain, extra scrappy materials, weapon repairs, and more stash space. We just didn't have figures up until now. The steps, ultimately, there's about 6 steps, I think, including the expedition window itself. So 5 steps where you have to actually contribute things. There's a variety of different items you need to contribute at different stages. There's then a variety of currency or amount that you need to contribute per category of item. Let's say trinkets. I think you need, if I remember rightly, 250,000 worth of trinkets and other crafting materials on one of the stages. 250,000 worth of quick use items and guns and all that type of stuff. So it takes a while to reach those figures. And of course we now know as well the stash and our current coins inside our account also contribute to the extra skill point. So we now know more details on this. And then of course finally the expedition calendar being a small window of opportunity to allow us to actually depart. And then if we do choose to depart, all raiders will depart at the same time. So I did see some posts and some community ideas where, you know, because we lose our blueprints, potentially there was this concept where if you've got a bunch of spare blueprints between now and the departure window, maybe you could, you know, kind of get some help from a friend and drop those blueprints to the new raider. But we now know that's not possible because ultimately we all depart at the same time. So maybe there's still some cheese that can be done here, but realistically, we now know the details, which is the most important bit. So now we're going to jump into the Arc Raiders website itself and just talk a little bit more about what the actual news that's dropped is. So of course this is from arcraiders.com directly itself. It's a post that's happened on December 6th, so the same day of recording. And of course it talks about the expedition project. So the first thing here is, why did you become a raider? Perhaps Speranza has always been too small for you. Maybe it's the thrill of danger, the feel of fresh air on your skin, or the promise of wealth that's only available topside. Whatever your reason, all raiders share one thing in common, which is the spirit of adventure. Excellent opening paragraph there. And of course then the details of the expedition project are listed. So the first thing we get is that there is a minor delay in the opening of the project. That now is the 17th of December. You'll have then a 6-day period, which in game it actually states 7-day, but they've changed that to a 6-day period, where you can opt to allow your raider to choose to leave the rust belt for good. By departing in that caravan that's been constructed, you restart the journey with certain buffs and advantages, and we want to take you through some of these here. So this is great news for us. Now we have all these details. Then we go on to the big chunk here. So you're leaving Speranza. When the expedition departs, all items in your raider's stash will be contributed toward it. Your next raider can earn up to 5 skill points based on the total value of your stash and coins at the time of departure. So this is super important because, of course, the more money you have inside your stash and coins, that will contribute to a skill point per 1 million coins worth of value. So the maximum would be 5 million coins. I'm personally halfway there just in coin value alone. I'm not sure what my entire stash is worth, but if I sold all of my gear, potentially I would reach somewhere around the 4 million mark, maybe 3 million. So for sure, we've got a little bit of work to do between now and the expedition window closing, but I will absolutely be aiming for those 5 extra skill points. As small as it may feel, I think this is a fantastic reward and effectively incentive, right, to go and do this this particular function in the game. So when you restart, everything tied to your progress will be reset, as we've covered. We know that the skill tree, the level, the stash, the workshop, crafting abilities and blueprints are all going away. It's worth noting that the initial onboarding from your first deployment in Speranza will be skipped, so we now know there will be no kind of tutorial as you first enter the game. As you know, you walk in, you do some tasks, there's bits and pieces there, that's all being skipped. And it does mean that then all maps and potential workshop upgrades will be available as soon as you reset. So that means we don't have to physically unlock each of the workbenches. They're just going to be there by default, and all we need to do is contribute again to the upgrading from level 1 to level 3, which is good news. Your new raider won't totally restart at square one, but by resetting you will unlock the following advantages and rewards. And this is where we've got the detail that we were waiting for the most. So the permanent unlocks, the Patchwork Raider outfit. Great addition that we get a cosmetic for doing so. Again, it's another great incentive to do it. Alongside the Scrappy Janitor Cap cosmetic for Scrappy, we have an Expeditions Indicator icon, which a lot of people in the community don't know what this is yet, including myself, but I can only imagine that this will be displayed somewhere within the game and maybe to other individuals on maybe the, let's say, round reviews when you, of course, complete your raid, whether you are knocked out, whether you successfully extract. You know, we have all the details of damage done, who got knocked down by. Potentially there'll be an icon there against our names to indicate that we are almost in that prestige mode and we have used or taken advantage of the expedition. We then have the skill points depending on stash value, so we know now that's 5 million, and we get plus 12 stash space permanent unlocks. And I think this is really crucial to understand, that this is permanently on your account, but there are some more details around this as we move forward. Temporary buffs then, so 10% repair buff, 5% XP boost, and 6% more materials from Scrappy. Every little helps with these buffs. Again, they are only temporary though, so they will most likely disappear up until the next point of the next expedition, theoretically. So we'll have those buffs on our second raider, but once we expedite again, I'm not too sure that we keep those buffs again, or if they are just slightly different on a different season, right? This could be what Embark are planning to do. So while skill points, extra stash base, and cosmetics are permanent unlocks, the account buffs will expire if you choose not to depart with the subsequent expedition. So that's where the temporary word comes in, that if you keep expediting, then you will keep these buffs by the sounds of it. Maybe they won't change them per season, but they just stay continuously as long as you keep prestiging or expediting. Bear in mind, buffs will increase in power for your next 3 expeditions, but only 1 departure is allowed per expedition window. Then they've finally put here, remember the expedition window will be open from the 17th and last until the 22nd of December. You must sign up during this period, and then everyone automatically departs at the same time on the 22nd. So again, going back to that almost cheese method, the problem with asking a friend to keep some blueprints is that they will not get this permanent unlock or temporary buff. So if they're opting to not expedite and lose out on those buffs, then sure, maybe there is an ability to be able to trade those blueprints or spare blueprints onto your new raider personally, but I think a lot more people are going to be tempted by doing it now that we've seen this information be released. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are and whether you think you're going to be taking part in this expedition. But for sure, I know I will be. So the value of your stash and coins will be counted when the window closes. So don't stop looting before then. If you choose not to depart this time around, don't worry, because your progress toward building a caravan will be preserved, so you can keep working on it until the next window opens in a couple of months, which I think this is absolutely amazing, because for the more casual players out there that have maybe only got to, let's say, stage 4 or stage 5 in the caravan process, they're worried that actually if they did choose to depart in this window, they don't benefit that much from the skill points because they've not got the stash value. Maybe they haven't even hit 1 million yet in terms of stash value. So for them, it's not impactful enough to do it. The cosmetics are there, sure, but in terms of the other buffs, maybe it doesn't make sense to do it. So preserving that progress is a really important decision by Embark, and I really do like that. And of course, the ability to continue looting and effectively gathering our stash until the 22nd of December is also another positive, in my opinion. That gives us plenty of days, knowing what the time window is specifically, to be able to push for that final 5 million mark. So why are we doing it like this? Progression wipes are a notoriously difficult thing to balance in online multiplayer games. We do get that. But the mandatory global wipes have some obvious benefits. Heavily invested players, such as myself, get to re-experience the initial grind once again, and for a time the playing field is somewhat leveled, which I do fundamentally agree with, especially on an extraction shooter game. Lots of people can become, let's say, a little bit of a loot hoarder, right? They have all the best equipment, they can come in raid after raid after raid and potentially obliterate everybody else because they've got access to more gear, more craftables, more blueprints, all the rest of it. So having that global wipe certainly does make the playing field more equalized for a short time, and just re-experiencing, right, all of the grind is what pulled me to this game so much in the first place in the initial few weeks. So having the ability to do all of that again, bar the quests, I'm a little bit on the fence about the quest reset still, but I understand that fundamentally some of the blueprints are tied to those quest lines, so maybe that makes sense, but maybe that's something Embark look at in the future. But in terms of the overall grind and the experience of upgrading and working towards an objective, I really like this idea. Then they go on to say the optional expedition project is our solution to some of the problems that inevitably arise with mandatory wipes. So specifically, by respecting your time investment in the game, we want to offer you the choice. So again, it's not mandatory. You can choose to do it, which again, I think is great. Of course, they're going to incentivize it because it just makes sense for them to do that. It's one of their core systems in the game to allow more enjoyment and a gameplay loop that fosters for the next coming years, right? So I completely understand why they've made it a choice, but also make it enticing at the same time. So if you've not completed as much as you'd like, then just keep on raiding, building and growing, ready for a new challenge and grind to once again, then depart on the expedition, receive those buffs, get the rewards and the bragging rights of fulfilling this achievement. And for now, the story is yours to write. We can't wait to see what you decide. With love, the Arc Raiders team. So Embark, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for dropping this news and this information. I think it's super great to have it a couple of weeks ahead of time, so we fully know what all of these permanent unlocks and temporary buffs look like, as well as the 3 expedition maximum or subsequent buffs. That is fantastic news, and I think it'll be welcomed by the community pretty much across the board. But guys, let me know how you feel in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this news. Let me know if you'll be carrying out the expedition or not. And of course, if you've got any questions, any preferred content that you want me to create, please let me know. And of course, lastly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.